Hello, human beings. Today's t-shirt is King Kong vs. Godzilla in a sort of Christmas thing. I got this at Christmas time a few years ago. One of the questions I'm often asked is, what is the Buddhist attitude or what is the Zen attitude towards forgiveness? And this is a kind of a difficult question to answer. For example, as I've mentioned before, I have Dogen's Shobogenzo as a PDF file on my computer, and you can do word searches in it, which I've recently discovered is a really neat way to find things quickly. So I put the word forgive in that little search box to see what I would get. And for the first 3 volumes, I got nothing, like no results at all. And I was even kind of thinking, is this thing on? Is this working? So I put the word the in just to see if it was working, to see if it would find all the instances of the, and it did. So there were no mentions of the word forgive or forgiveness in the first 3 volumes of the Nishijima Cross version of Shobogenzo. In the 4th volume, there is one mention in a footnote, and that's a kind of curious mention because it got me thinking about how we deal with this matter of forgiveness. And the footnote mentions a ceremony called the full moon ceremony, which is something that Buddhist temples do often, every full moon. And it is one of the most ancient ceremonies in Buddhism. It's supposedly one of the first ceremonies that the Buddha instituted. And what happens in the full moon ceremony is that you recite the Buddhist precepts and you make a vow to continue practicing them. At the beginning of the full moon ceremony, you chant this little poem that goes, "All my ancient twisted karma, from beginningless greed, hatred, and delusion, born of body, speech, and mind, I now fully avow." And then you go on to do the precepts and then say that you're going to uphold them. And in this footnote in Nishijima Cross's version of Shobogenzo, this is characterized, they don't go through the whole ceremony, but they describe it as acknowledging that you have done wrong in the past and asking for forgiveness. So it's kind of interesting because when you say a vow, you're not exactly asking for forgiveness, but it's implied. So we understand that we have done wrong in the past, and we are saying we're not going to do that anymore. Another Zen thing that gets into this idea of forgiveness is the Sixth Precept. That's how you say six in Japanese, sign language. The Sixth Precept is often given as, do not discuss the faults of Buddhist priests and lay people. And I've never really liked that version of the Sixth Precept because it sounds like a kind of shield of impenetrability, or I don't know what you'd call it, for Buddhist priests and lay people. And I do think that I've seen instances in which Buddhists will do things that they know are bad because they expect not to be criticized, because it's against the rule to criticize, for a Buddhist to criticize another Buddhist. And I think that's a very bad way to take this precept. The version I like a lot better is the version that Kobun Chino used, and was the first version of the Sixth Precept that I ever heard, is no speaking of past mistakes or no dwelling on past mistakes. I've heard both versions of this. And when I first heard it, I thought, well, that's me not dwelling on my own past mistakes. But I think it can also be pointed outward and mean don't dwell on the past mistakes of others. Forgiveness is a great concept, and of course in Christianity there is a lot of stuff about forgiveness, and I think it's one of the great contributions of Christianity to culture in general of the entire world, both Christian and non-Christian, this idea of forgiveness. Forgive us our trespasses as we forgive those of others. I think is how it goes. Is that the Lord's Prayer? Anyway, those kind of things are great. It's especially important these days because I think everybody's aware that there is a big lack of forgiveness in internet culture. Now, how much this transforms into actual culture of people's real interactions with each other, not separated by these little screens that we all have, is hard to tell. But people are extremely unforgiving. People get these tweets that they said when they were 25 and now they're 45, and this tweet is back. And I don't know if there were tweets 20 years ago. But anyway, things they put on the internet 20 or more years ago get thrown up in their face as if, what about this? And there's nothing you can do about this. Everybody has done dumb things in their past. And one of the things that often happens when people do Zazen is all the dumb things you did in your past come rushing up to conscious awareness. This happens to me quite frequently, and I think it happens to all of us. But we don't want to dwell on that stuff. We want to be able to move past it. Now, to me, forgiveness doesn't mean that you're saying it's okay what happened in the past. You're not exactly absolving the person who did it, or even if it's yourself. You are saying, I understand that you acknowledge that this was wrong, maybe was wrong in the light of looking back on it now, or maybe it was always wrong. Who knows? It could be either case. But you acknowledge that, and you are going to make the effort to be better. And we need to allow people that. We need to allow people to move on from their past mistakes. If we can't allow people to move on from their past mistakes, we can't have a society anymore. That's how we make society work. And so even though forgiveness doesn't really appear as such very often in the Buddhist canon, especially in the Zen Buddhist canon, I think it is an important thing that we as Buddhists have to be able to do. So just a little short video on forgiveness, something I was thinking about today. Remember that I will be in Ohio next week. On October 8th, I will be speaking at the Universalist Unitarian Church in Cleveland Heights near Coventry. On October 11th, which is a Friday, Zero Defects will play at Gillies in Akron, Ohio. On October 12th, which is a Saturday, I will be speaking at 11 a.m. in the morning at the Akron Library, Highland Square branch, not the main branch downtown, but the Highland Square branch. And on that same night, I just got this word from Jimmy Image, our singer, we, Zero Defects, meaning, is playing at Annabelle's, also in Akron. So we'll play a shorter set at Annabelle's. So if you really want to get the full Zero Defects, you'll want to go to Gillies, and at Annabelle's we've kind of been added to the bill of a bunch of other bands. So that's where I'm going to be, and I'll always be at the Angel City Zen Center. Well, not always, obviously. I'm not there sometimes, but that's where you can find me most often, so go there. And remember, my new book is probably already showing up in certain stores. It's Letters to a Dead Friend About Zen. Get it where fine books are sold. We will be adding it to our website, so you can order signed copies there. If you want them personalized, ask and we'll do it. So there you go. Thanks a lot for listening. See you later. Bye.